The different sectors have actually had to shed a large number of jobs this year. Just recently, the likes of AngloGold Ashanti as well as Pick n Pay announced that they would retrench staff. Experts say there are many misconceptions and myths around this process. But to discuss this further, we joined in our studios in Johannesburg by Osborne Molatudi. He's a partner specializing in labor law at Hogan Lovells. Good morning to you, Dr. Molatudi. Thank you so much for coming through.
Good morning, ma'am, and to your viewers.
Now, besides, all the companies, of course, they mentioned the recession, the technical recession that we find ourselves in. They mentioned the issues of or around the economic status of South Africa for retrenching staff. But what would you say are other reasons for the retrenchments?
Yeah, as a starting point, retrenchments find regulations in Section 189 and Section 189A of the Labour Relations Act. And these two sections are most familiar with employers, trade unions and employees concerned. And in terms of these sections, an employer is entitled to retrench based on operational requirements. One of the elements of the definition of operational requirements is economic hardships or similar needs of an employer. For instance, redundancy, where in the case of Pick n Pay, they indicated that they no longer need certain positions at their corporate head office and related. With regards to Ashanti gold mining, we are facing economic hardships, and that is precisely the reason why they're laying off employees.
All right, so in most cases, those are the reasons that are usually provided by companies. But when it comes to employees themselves, what rights do they have before these retrenchments are carried out?
Critically important, employees, and especially when they are represented by trade unions, are entitled to what is referred to as a fair procedure, which is set out in the same section of the LRA. And that section is meant to enable both parties to reach consensus on a fair number of issues, one of which is to avoid the retrenchments, to discuss selection criteria, to minimize the adverse effects of retrenchments, perhaps even change the timing of the retrenchments, but more importantly, to even avoid retrenchments at all.
And in terms of unions, do they usually win in terms of fighting for the employees?
In many instances, unions have succeeded in persuading employers, in most cases, changing the timing and or finding alternatives for their members before they can even take further steps.
Yeah, but what are the most common myths about retrenchments?
The obvious one is that an employer is probably on an anti-union bashing, simply getting rid of employees because they want to reduce the number of employees who are eligible to be members of a trade union. But that is not the case because the law obliges the employer to have substantive fair reasons to effect retrenchments based on its operational requirements.
Yeah, we've also made mention of the rights that employees have when facing retrenchments. But what are the options that they have usually?
I think the options employees have, firstly, is if they feel that the employer has not followed a fair procedure, they can challenge that. They can apply for an interdict to compel the employer to comply with a fair procedure before effecting any retrenchments. Otherwise, if the employer goes ahead and retrenches them, they can refer a dispute for unfair dismissal, challenging the retrenchments. But they can't have it both. You can either embark on a strike to stop the employer from going ahead with an unfair procedure or what they perceive as an unfair procedure. And if they do so, the employer will be entitled to lock them out.
Now, but considering the economy now, since we are in a technical recession, as I said, do you think we should be on the lookout for more retrenchments?
Indeed, unless something drastic is done.
Yeah.
What
can be done to save the situation?
Well, we need something drastic from the government side to stimulate confidence and, to allow business growth and for the companies to do well. And in that case, more retrenchments can be avoided. However, if the situation doesn't improve economically in the country as a whole, yes, we are likely to face similar retrenchment, especially in the retail mining and other industries.
Yeah, all right. No, Ndate Molatudi, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for talking to us.
It's my pleasure, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank
There
you.
you have it. Osborne Molatudi is a partner specializing in labor law at Hogan Lovells, talking to us about the retrenchments and the repercussions thereof. Well, it's just gone 8:30. Kom ons kry gou die finale hooftrekke van die dag en Leon has all the details.